Now, buttons or action buttons are a great way for people to be able to navigate and move around your report. Buttons can be images or shapes or icons. What I want to look at first of all is creating a collection of buttons, and a collection of buttons that's known as the page navigator. The page navigator is one object that is a collection of buttons that allow you to move between all the pages in your report. And so first of all, I've got 2 pages here, but I'd actually like to create some more pages so that my page navigator has got a lot to work with. So I'm going to ask you to first of all click on dashboard, hit the plus and double click page 1 and call that population. Now population should in fact go in front of summary, so I'm just going to drag it and drop it in front of summary. And then I'm going to add another report, or page I should say, called median age. Add another page and call this life expectancy. And another page, double click, called income per person. And I'm going to drag summary and drop it to the right of income per person so that I've got these 4 pages sitting immediately after my dashboard. Now I want to create or insert a page navigator that allows me to move between these pages in my report. If we go to insert in the ribbon, there's a buttons button which has a drop down, and there's a variety of buttons that you could insert onto your page. Now I'm interested in a navigator, and in particular a page navigator, so that's the option I choose. Now the page navigator has popped itself up the top here. See, I'm just dragging it so you can see it clearly. So this is a horizontal page navigator by default, but what if I want a different look? Then what we do is we go to the format pane to change and format this particular page navigator. And I'm going to hit the chevron in front of grid layout. And in the grid layout, I can change it from the horizontal appearance I have at the moment to maybe a grid. And if I go for a grid, I can say I want 2 rows and maybe 2 columns. Oops, 2 columns. And so there's my 2 rows and 2 columns grid. But in fact, I should actually ask for 3 columns because I had more pages than that. So that's a grid layout as opposed to what we started with, which is a horizontal layout. There it is there. But I'm actually going for a vertical layout. I want my buttons one on top of each other. Now don't panic that it looks terrible. That's just because we need to resize it. So I'm just going to bring it in and take it down. And that resizes that page navigator. And I can easily move it and just drag it over to here, which means I need to move some of the other elements on my page. So I'm just going to grab this over, drag this over, drag this over, and drag this over. So you can easily drag other elements or visuals on your page, and you can easily drag the page navigator up or down. I also want to go back into grid layout and just increase the padding, which is the gap between the buttons, to say 10 points. So you can actually increase the gap as well, and then just be happy with the size and the position of your page navigator. Might actually drag it down a little bit and even resize it a little bit. Be happy with it. And I'm going to save what I've done so far with my Power BI file. Now let's test the page navigator. Whenever you create buttons, if you want to test them, you can't just click on the button. It doesn't work. This is not taking me to the population page as I would expect. If you want to navigate to a location using a button, you have to hold the control key. So as I hold control and click population, I'm taken down here to the population page. If I go back to dashboard and I hold the control and click median age, I'm taken to the median age page. So this is a page navigator which is navigating to the pages I have in my report. In each one of those pages, I really need to add a back button to make it easy for me to go back to the dashboard where I just came from. So I'm going to hold the control key and click population. So I'm in population. I go to the insert tab in my ribbon and I choose the buttons button. And I want to create a back button. So I click back. It immediately wants to sit in the top left corner, and now we're getting a little bit of a tooltip also that tells us that you have to hold control and click in order to use that button. Now I actually want this button not to be in the top left, I want it to be in the top right. So I'm going to drag it hard to the right hand side so it appears on the right hand side of my page. Now I also want to actually change the appearance of it. So if I go to the format task pane, I can do things like, now what do I want to do? I actually want to format the style, and I want to change the style to a different color. So I'm just going to go to icon, there it is there, and within there I'm going to go to line, and there's the line color. And if I rest on this, it's 3257A8, which is basically blue. So I'm going to click that, and so I've got a blue line color for my back button. So you have to find the properties in the format, and as you can see, there's a lot of them and it can be quite tricky. So sometimes I'll just search for line, and there, boom, it took me to line color. So you may actually get tired of trying to search for things. So use the search box to quickly navigate to the particular attribute you want to apply or format. Now we can also copy visualizations between pages and paste them. So I'm actually going to save myself a lot of time by selecting this visual. Control C is copy, but you could right click and copy if that's your preference. Right click. Oh no, you can't right click and copy. Control C, or on the home tab you could choose the copy option here. It doesn't actually mention Control C, but it is actually, I just click on it, go Control C, I'll go to median page and I'll go Control V, and it sits in the exact same spot. I'll go to life expectancy, Control V, I'll go to income per person, Control V, and I'll even go to summary, Control V, which means that from any page I can get back to the dashboard. So if I go to dashboard, hold the control key and click summary, hold the control key and click back, it goes back. Income per person, control key back, control key life expectancy, control key back. So action buttons are really good for moving around. They help you navigate. And so I'm going to save what I've done so far, and we've made some navigation buttons.